Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Leftover Show. We're going to make it a nice, short and sweet one this week, probably with a couple of apologies. We'd planned on being on the road this week. Oh my goodness, we had not thought it through. First of all, we still can't go further than 25 k's, and everywhere that we wanted to go was further than 25 k's. So then we thought we'd pop down to the Cranbourne Botanic Gardens today. Kate came round. We talked about what we needed to do and filming for the next 3 week shows, and all of a sudden it was late in the morning. The cake was made, cooled down, and I said, you know what, let's go out the back gate, because out the back of our property where we're living at the moment, we've got this beautiful reserve that runs right through to the Edith Vale wetlands, and it's just a gorgeous spot. So I've kind of delivered my promise that we would be out of the house and then next week we will be at Leanne Church's beautiful home in Victoria, and of course, and we'll be talking about all different ways to do different stem techniques. So whether it be hand applique with the machine, or in the case with Leanne, by machine embroidery. So I hope you look forward to that one. Now in the meantime, as I said, a nice short and sweet leftover show this week. First of all, check out the cake. So what I did was I took a couple of things that we have done before and put them together. I used the same tin that we used for our lemon syrup cake a few shows ago, and instead I made the lemon tea cake that we made last week. I took the lemon out and I put in a good slug. What's a slug? 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons of vanilla, so it's really vanilla-y, and a really good generous shake of cinnamon. So I did that, and you know what? In my whole life, I have to confess, I've never made an upside down cake. Can you believe that? I never made one. So I thought, now's the time, you know, no pressure, just when we're about to film. So the pears are beautiful at this time of year. So it's seasonal here at the moment in Victoria in spring, and they are really nice. So I grabbed a fresh pear, just sliced it up. I didn't peel it or anything. I put the baking paper in the tin, and I just did a generous sprinkle of caster sugar and cinnamon, and then I did a layer of thinly sliced pear, and then put the cake mix on top. It worked. So how easy was that? So you can see it's really nice, and the pear's showing through the top, but of course you could put anything in, I'm guessing. I know the traditional one is pineapple, but I think I'm going to go back and do an apple and date one next, just to see how that one turns out. So anyway, Kate and I have brought 2 chairs out and the table and coffee, and we're going to see how it tastes in a little bit. The other thing that I wanted to show you, which did kind of inspire the cake this morning, was I finished off my apple and pear placemat, and I'm really happy with it. Phil and Kate came over to dinner on Sunday night, and I was actually able to put it on display and then sit there all night going, please don't spill anything on it, please don't spill anything on it, because I wanted to show it to you today without having washed it. So these were the ones that we did in our paper piecing episode, and at the end we just did this little technique about pre-piecing and pre-shaping with freezer paper. And I could have done my little leaves with applique, you know, on freezer paper as well, or needle turn them, but I chose to just do them with a little running stitch and some embroidery thread, and I think that's worked quite well. So we're going to pop that back on here. We're going to put our pear cake back on top of our apple and pear runner, and we'll enjoy that in a minute. Now, as I said, next week's a really exciting week, but before we get to that, I've got hidden under here a few gorgeous show and tells that you've sent me this week. So it's probably appropriate for our show and tells that I give you a look first at Elizabeth Murray's tea cake that she made from last week's show. Elizabeth, it looks fantastic, and I believe the girls really enjoyed it. This means they all now need to go and make a cake as well and share it with you. So that means 4 cakes coming your way, which will be really good. But I'm really pleased that you are all enjoying the recipes, and I love getting the photos and seeing what you've made. Pauline Boyke has made this gorgeous pincushion. Now there's a bit of a story behind this. Pauline's joined our Australian Sewing Community Facebook group, which you can do as well if you want. It's a great collection of Australian quilters and crafters, and 11 businesses as well. And the pincushion she saw in one of Karen Stiles from Somerset Patchworks classes, and then she's made one up in my Hampton stripe that goes with all of my Melba fabrics, and it looks lovely, and I'd love one, so I've got to get around to making one myself. Next is Deb Cooper. Now, Deb, I think I may have mentioned before, is an amazing China doll maker. So Deb is about making beautiful dolls and then dressing them, luckily for me, in my fabrics. So there's 2 that she sent me through this week, and she's all fired up and getting ready for our exhibition next year. One here is in my Melba fabrics. So you can see she's fussy cut the kaleidoscope print to sit on the bodice of the doll's dress, and then she's used the rest of the fabric for the dress skirt, and it looks absolutely amazing with a gorgeous little matching hat. And the other one is in Under the Australian Sun flannel flowers with the red background for Christmas. So Deb, they're great, keep them going. I've got the glass cabinet ready to put all your precious dolls in, with some amazing jewelry as well that's going to come from Marilyn Hayes. So it's all coming together really nicely. And finally, Marilyn Larkin, oh my goodness, have a look at this quilt. Now, this was a free download pattern that we had called Cascading Gum, I think, from one of the Under the Australian Sun launches. And Marilyn has taken it, kept some of the gum leaf blocks, but then she's created her own applique of Australian native orchids. These are amazing, and it's the first time she's had a go at designing her applique, so she needs to keep it up. Well done, Marilyn. And of course, we are really excited about seeing this quilt in person when it's finished. So that is pretty much my short and sweet leftover week. What Kate and I are also working on today, just as a little sneak peek, I'll just put the knife up here to cut the cake, is a new couple of flowers for my flowering gum prints for Under the Australian Sun. So we're getting a truckload of new colours of the Melbourne New fan print this week, and we're really excited about sharing those with you. And then we're moving on and doing a couple of new colours for the flowering gum. So it comes in 11 colours at the moment, and we need to add a couple more in. And the next one we're going to do is actually in the aqua teal background that's in my Under the Australian Sun pink and teal floral, and it also matches up with the butterflies. So we're going to do that this week and get that off to Japan so it's ready for next year, and got the old Pantone book I showed you in the last leftover show. So that's what we're going to do for today. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Please stay tuned next week when we'll be at Leanne Church's house. We're going to do a couple of really great dressings and sauces to use over summer with a real summer feel. And as I said, we're going to be working on how to do some stem techniques. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.